Alright, hello everybody. So, I've got a new setup here. In the background, let me turn this down. I've got this app going, little dB meter. You can see there, it's picking up ambient sound, so I turn her up. What this is going to do is measure the amount of dBs coming off that little boss thing over here. Yonder dooflicky. And that yonder dooflicky is being powered by the 529 there. What we wanted to do is have a look at the whole idea of powering the boss unit off a 12 volt supply, because a dude, what's his name? The birdcage guy, songbird guy, they make these little 12 volt adapters, which I've been using for ages and ages and ages. I also use the Mission ones. And we're having a look at this whole 12 volt supply for running Boss units, running Yamaha units, running these kind of practice amps and what happens with them. So, full credit to your boy, Birdsong Cages, Birdsong Chords. He told me about this. I hit up your boy Paul over at Mission Engineering. These are the guys who make all these things. So you see that logo? Mission Engineering 529s. That there is a 529P, and that is currently supplying 12 volts center positive and running that Boss thing. And what I'm getting, so to try and stop touching that, are the volume levels around 70, 80, 85 dB. It's about as far as you want to go. So when Paul asks, okay, what's the deal with this thing? Is it true? Is it not true? Well, it is true. If you go through the back of this thing, I'll try and show you now. If you yank this out, turn it off first. Let's try that. Yank that out. The weird thing about the Boss, the good thing about the Boss, is this has external batteries. External. It has internal batteries. The old AA's, which you can open up, and I have never once used them. You will notice here, I leave one out. I leave one out because if you put these in and leave them in, chances are you're going to drain. If you start charging stuff, it will start using the transmitter. So, all well and cool. You can go out and buy AA's. They're very expensive. They're very bad for the environment. They only last so long, and these are about the best you could get in Duracell super long life, 200 times running. So there you go. No wires, ma. Plug her in. Go back to the exact same setup we had before. This is probably going to be best left on a flat surface. And that's up and running. Let's see. That's now running at 20 watts instead of 30. But you'll see, the higher you go up on this, try and get that in frame so you can see it a little bit better, just a little bit. There you go. If you go anywhere up above 85, the sound pressure level on those little speakers is not going to be good. You're going to start to get some distortions. If you put it down on a flat surface, it's going to be okay. But it's a bit of a surprise, because when you're playing with these things, we sat down in a group and started talking about this, and really the sound pressure level of the speaker is going to be the determining factor, not exactly the amount of watts that you push at it. So this thing is designed to sound good at 20, it's designed to sound good at 30. If you add 10 watts to it via the external speaker, the external sorry, the external battery. It's 38 degrees here. It's hot, guys. You know what that is in Fahrenheit. That's fucking hot. So just by adding an external battery, you're going to get a little bit more headroom. But chances are it's not going to translate into volume because you want to stay around the sweet spot of 85. Where this could get interesting, if you do like Andy the Guitar Geek did, and you hack the Boss system, and you use external speakers, or you upgrade those speakers to something with a little better sound pressure level, then it would make a difference. If you like, I'll put a link to his video where he did this hack, and this is something that the Boss stuff especially has a great community set up where people do all these kind of hacks. And yes, you're busting through the warranties and all that, so don't do it, but why wouldn't you do it? You know, there are things to consider. But that said, the big deal, I think, with using an external battery like this is you need to take into context everything else that you're running around. If you're using wireless with other gear like this, that comes with little batteries, AA's. Boss is great like that. They actually give all these things, and there's always batteries in there. Same with their EQ, same with a whole bunch of other stuff. Their gear can be battery powered. Much as AA's are paying for that, it's a cool thing. So consolidating all of your battery power in this here dooflicky, it works for a mobile rig because you're going to use that specifically with whatever you're doing. Rip that out, and let me flip this back over so you can see exactly how this thing works. Turn on, 12 volt, plug her in. This thing's gonna die. Boom. Turn it back on. Something cool to note there. When you're putting in the 12 volts, you'll know that this thing is working because the internal batteries are dislocated whilst that's there. And now you're on 30. You can try it again. See if you notice anything. You know, this is not a scientific, digitally recorded USB thing. This is as you would do, you and I, in a normal room. And I think you'll agree. It's a tiny little bit more headroom. Can you hear it in here? Maybe not. In the room, you can hear it. But this is not one of those things where you're going to sit down and say, oh my God, what a difference. You know, sorry. It's just not the case. I think that's part and parcel of this Boss stuff. It's designed to sound good with 20, with 30. It's a practice amp. You're not going to, you know, blast out a drum or anything like that. Really, in the bigger picture, what you're looking at here is convenience. Uber convenience. Yank the thing out. Turn it on again. Go outside and you've got your sounds, which is really cool. The distance that you're at from it, yeah, there it is on the bed. And even here, moving the speaker 3 meters away from that mic source, does it sound better? So food for thought, especially just with the Boss stuff. You think about the Yamaha stuff, which has a built-in battery pack. If you can augment that with an exterior battery pack and go off for a weekend. You know, these things, the Boss one runs about 680 milliamps. You can run 3 or 4 days off this with that battery pack at 2500. If you were to use a 529M, the tiny version of this thing, I've got somewhere at 680, with a center positive, you could go forever and ever, amen. You could probably build a little base unit for this thing and put all of your kit in it to run. You could probably, you know, add these little Boss units here with a pedal board like that and have your modeling system on the ground and use that as a monitor. That's really where I'm going with this whole thing this summer, is pick and choose 2 or 3 pedals, make a tiny little board, use the practice gear as a monitoring system, and then start merging all this DSP together, because that's a lot of power in a very tiny system. And it's a great way to learn. And as I found with a lot of videos, the more you restrict yourself to working with a finite amount of effects, the more you're going to get out of it. You know, especially from a MIDI point of view, using something like a stomp. That's just brilliant. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you've been able to make sense of this. Or anyone else who's looking at the whole battery world. If you're going with something like this, camping trips, aside from the silent running, I think really the way to consider running with something like this is with all these inputs and outputs. If you start using it with additional power supplies, you'll have a complete little portable sound studio system that can fit in your bag and go somewhere. Really cool. Really, really cool.